everyone, welcome back to another video. So you've probably already seen a couple videos on a page that I'm working on in here with a bunny. It started out as a fur tutorial, and then I did another tutorial where I showed you how to color things that are just very small spaces on coloring pages and still be able to create the extra depth that you need. And I'm really enjoying this page and I wanted to continue with it. So if you want to follow along with this, I do plan on finishing this page. I'm just really enjoying coloring the flowers on this page. This book in the very back has an index and it lists all of the flowers and plants and the insects on the page, and so you can look them up and you can color them just as they would look in real life. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm enjoying picking my colors, and so I'm just going to lead you through some of that today. If you check the description box down below, you will find the link down there for the first part of this color along, as well as my Facebook group, my Etsy shop, my email list, and my Patreon if you'd like to support me there. I also now have channel membership. You can click the join button down below the video to find more information out about that. So here is the page I've been coloring. I just a few minutes ago finished coloring all the rest of the flowers on this page. Now today for this video, I was planning on coloring this flower down here because I don't know, I just really want to color this flower. Most of you know, if you've been watching my videos, I do have these tabs on my pages and that helps me to keep the page numbers. And then I also have my index tabbed here so I know just where to find it. We do have all of the scientific names. We have all of the plants on this page and it all goes by page numbers. So I've been working on page 46. I'm going to color the calendula. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Hopefully I am. I did a little bit of research and supposedly this flower is much like a marigold, but supposedly it's not the same flower. They look very similar. So this flower is going to have lots of orange and yellow, and it's a really beautiful flower. So here is the picture of the flower, and they do look very similar, so I'm pretty sure I pulled up the right one. But look at all of these gorgeous colors in this flower, and so I really just wanted to color this. But I'm going to go ahead and match some colors. So I'm going to go through the process with you and show you exactly how I take a photo and I match up the colors. But it's really nice to have these photos because you can zoom them in as close as you need to, and that allows you to be able to match your colors up to the photo. Okay, so I have my tray here that has all of my shades of yellow and oranges in it. All of my Prismacolors are now in little trays like this. I get them at Hobby Lobby. I really love them. But I have all of the color families in a separate tray. So I've got all my yellows and oranges in this one, and then I have my blues and some purples in another one, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and match up some of these colors. The first one I'm looking at is orange, and I'm just going to hold the tip of my pencil right up here to the photo, and it looks like this one matches very well. So this is going to be one of our colors. Now I have Spanish orange. If I hold this up really close, you can see that there is some of this shade in different places throughout the flower, mainly where the two colors are coming together. This will be great to be able to blend some of our colors together. I'm going to go ahead and choose a few colors. Now that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to use all of them, but as with all of my tutorials or my videos, we will see where it goes. And y'all know I always change things up as I go, and I may end up pulling in other colors. I don't know yet. But this is Sunburst Yellow, and it is very similar to the Spanish Orange. So I'm going to pull this one and we're going to see which one we decide to use. I also have Yellowed Orange, which I see a lot of this color in the flower as well. I do have quite a few oranges here, so I'm not going to choose any more of those. I'm probably not going to use all of them. We do need to add some yellows in here now. I did pull quite a few of them. The first one I pulled was Deco Yellow, and this looks very similar to a lot of these areas here in the flower, especially down here where it gets much brighter. I also pulled Sand because this is a much more muted yellow, and I could see a lot of this in here where I've got the transitions from the yellow to the orange, or where the orange is sort of pulled through just a little bit. Then I have Canary Yellow. This one is super bright, and there is a lot of this down here in the bottom of the flower or in any of the areas where the colors are much brighter, a little bit over here and here, but it looks like a pretty good match. And then I went ahead and grabbed my cream because cream with yellows is a very good color to be able to burnish things together and really make them stand out. And it's very light, but it's bright at the same time. So it's a really pretty color, and I do see quite quite a bit of this in some places in the flower. So maybe we could do just some of the petals different from one another and get all of these colors in here. I see a lot of cream over here in this part of the flower too. So I have quite a few colors, and I'm going to go ahead and go over them with you one more time so that you can make sure, if you're following along, you've got all the colors next to you. And again, I may not use all of these, but I've got yellowed orange, sunburst yellow, as well as Spanish orange. And then for my main orange, I have Prismacolor orange. And then for my main yellow, I've got this bright, beautiful canary yellow. I have cream, I have sand. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use that one. I don't know. Again, we're going to see. And then I have Deco yellow, which is a really pretty bright color, but it's also very light at the same time. So I'm going to sharpen all my pencils because we've got some pretty small spaces here, and I want to be able to fit the colors in where I can. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to have some leaves to do as well. And I'm going to start by taking the cream and just making a layer on every single one of these because this is my lightest color, and so I'm just going to use it as a base layer just to get me started. So that's going to count as a first layer, and I did that very, very lightly, but it added a very little bit of color. And I'm thinking I want to start with my yellows so that I could do the shades of orange more so on the tips. Now I'm looking at the flower, and there's a whole lot more orange over here on this side and on this outer edge. And I'm just going to add some of this. And this is also a second layer. And this is really good paper, so you can get quite a few layers down here. And using colored pencils is all about adding layer after layer after layer. And that's what helps you to create all that extra depth and dimension with your colored pencils. Now I have my canary yellow, and I'm just going to add this in certain places right over that Deco yellow. Now my flower in the photo is much brighter, like I said, over here on one side. It has much more orange on this side. And of course, when you get done, it doesn't have to look exact. That's never our goal when we're using a Google image. We just want it to look similar, but we want to do our own thing at the same time. And we really just want to use the picture for some inspiration. A lot of times, if you have something to look at, it makes it much easier to decide where you want to place your colors. Now I think I really need to decide which one of these I'm going to use. So I'm going to swatch them out. This is the yellowed orange, Spanish orange, and sunburst yellow. These two are very, very similar. So the Spanish orange and the sunburst yellow are almost exactly the same. This one seems to be much brighter. So I think I'm going to use the sunburst yellow. I'm going to get rid of the Spanish orange. I'm just going to use this one. That was the yellowed orange right along with this one. I think those are going to be really super pretty together. So just like I told you earlier, I wasn't sure if I was going to use all of them. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to use the sand. But let's see what we can come up with just these colors. Here's the flower, and you can see that a lot of the orange is over here and over here. On these petals that are a little bit closer to the center, it has just a little bit of orange right on the tips. And then even over here, it tends to get a little bit lighter, and then it gets darker. But over here, we've got a lot more orange. So that's what we're going to use our Prismacolor orange for, is to shade in a lot of this side of the flower. So I'm going to use the sunburst yellow, and I'm just going to start adding a little bit of this color right at the tips. Of course, afterwards, I'm going to have to come in with the orange, and I'm going to blend that color into this one. But on this side of the flower, we have a lot of the darker orange. I wanted to continue with this page because I have just really enjoyed coloring it, and I want to see it completed. So I'm just coming in on all of the tips of all of the petals, and I'm just going to sort of pull this color right into where I've already laid a lot of yellow. I'm trying not to push down too hard on my pencil because I don't want to use up all the tooth of the paper. Not yet, because I still have orange, and I might even have to grab something a little bit darker than the orange just to add extra depth and dimension and really make this flower stand out. But on these down here in the photo, there is just a very little bit of orange right at the very tips. So I think I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go straight to the orange, and I'm going to skip over the yellowed orange for now, and I may use the yellowed orange to pull those two colors together. Again, we don't have a whole lot of space on these petals, so I want to make sure that I can get my darkest color in here. I've already used quite a few colors. So this is where we're going to start seeing quite a bit of difference, and I'm just coming in and adding another layer on the tips of all of these flowers. And again, you're going to see more orange over here on this side of the flower, but now you should really be seeing quite a bit of difference now that we have added in the orange. It's going to make the flower stand out quite a bit more. Now down here on these, it's got a very little bit of orange on the tips, and these over here it has even less. So I'm just very lightly gonna put very tiny bit. So it seems that the flower looks a little bit more orange as we go outward this way. So as we come out to these couple of layers here of petals, I'm going to be adding a little bit more orange. I think I might need the yellowed orange over here. So now I'm going to come back with the orange, and on these here, I'm just going to blend a little bit of that right into it. And then again, I'm going to take the yellowed orange, and I'm going to do these here on the top and blend this into my previous yellow because these look a little bit lighter. Now I have the orange again. I'm just coming in here and getting the tips of the petals just to add a little bit more depth. It's really hard with oranges and yellows to create the amount of depth that I like to see, but I'm gonna try. I may need to bring in another color just to darken something up just a little bit. Okay, so over here on this side is where the flower is quite a bit darker. So over here is where I may need to grab another color and come back in and add a little bit more of something. Now I have my yellowed orange, and I'm just going to add a little bit of this in here. I'm using this just to pull this down just a little bit where I added that orange to blend it into those other colors so that we can get a nice smooth blend on all of these petals. So now I have my canary yellow because I really need to get in here and brighten this up in these areas over here where it should be much lighter. Oh wow, that makes a difference. I think this color was very much needed. And I think over here I'm going to leave a little bit of the white of the paper, and right in here I've got a little bit more white of the paper, and then possibly on some of these center petals. I'm not going to pull this all the way in, but you can really start to see it all coming together now. So I went and grabbed two more oranges. I've got cadmium orange hue, and then I have pumpkin orange, and I think the pumpkin orange is going to help me to add quite a bit more depth to this flower. I'm going to start with the cadmium orange hue. Oh, this is actually a lot closer than the orange to what the image actually looks like. These on the outer end are actually orange all the way through, and they don't even have any yellow on them, so I'm going to pull this down even more. So now I'm going to grab my pumpkin orange, and I'm going to make a layer of this right over that and see what happens here. Oh yes, that's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Oh, what a huge difference. Okay, so I'm going to come over here on this side only, and I'm going to use this pumpkin orange just to create extra depth and darken it up a bit. Now I have the cadmium orange, and I'm just going to blend some of these colors out just a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side of the flower just to create a little bit more depth, but I'm not going to bring this down as much as I did on the other side. Go ahead and pull some of these colors together with the orange. The orange is much brighter, and so it will lighten it up and blend some of these colors together and make it look a little bit more natural, and pull it into some of these areas where I've got quite a bit of yellow. So I have my deco yellow, and I'm just going to use this to blend some of these colors together and brighten it up just a little bit more. Again, I'm leaving some of the white space in between some of the petals, and I'm just sort of going in a circular motion to blend some of these colors out so that they come together a little bit more seamless. But this is really great paper, so you could add layer after layer after layer, and you can still keep on going with these flowers. But that is just super pretty. I really love how it came together. And you could see that I've got a lot more orange on this side than I do on this side. You could see a lot more yellow over here. And I still kind of want to give the illusion over here that it is a little bit darker. So I'm going to try to find another color, maybe a brown, just to come in at those tips of those petals. Okay, so I grabbed a light umber and we're going to see what I can do. I'm going to go very lightly just over the tips on just this side of the flower and see if I can darken these up and create just a little bit more depth on this side. But anytime you're using oranges and you want it to look a little bit more like it's popping up off the page, if you just grab a brown and blend it right in there, it will still look orange, it won't look brown, and it will help you to just add a bit of extra depth in there. And then you can just come back with your darkest color, which was the pumpkin orange, and you can go over that again just so that you can't see the brown. It's just going to create a blend of those two colors. So I really like how this has turned out, and to do the center, I am just going to use the pumpkin orange, and I'm going to lay a layer of that down there. And then I'm going to grab my light umber, and I'm just going to lay a little bit of this on the outer edges for a little bit of depth. And the center of the flower is so small that you really don't need to do much else to it. But I think I want these little buds to be fairly bright. I'm going to use the canary yellow, and I'm just going to add a layer of the canary yellow over all of these buds. And then I'm just going to use something just to add a little bit of depth. Let me go ahead and add a little bit of color with the orange, and I'm just going to blend some of that right into here. Yeah, I'm probably going to need one more color. I'm going to go ahead and use the pumpkin orange. And with this color, I'm just lining a lot of the edges just to create that extra depth, and then I'll come back with another color to blend some of that in. So I'm using my orange just to blend some of these colors out just a little bit. Now I'm just going to use my canary yellow and add a pop of yellow into each one and spread some of this color out. So we need to do these leaves that are all surrounding the flower. I think that I want to use different colors than I used in these leaves over here. I have much more space on these leaves than I did on these up here. So I wanted to get pretty creative with these, and I'm going to bring in a yellow to add a pop of color. And so I wanted to add the same color that I had in the flower, so that way we're sort of bringing the colors from the flower to the leaves. But I have this to add the pop of highlight. This is my Deco Yellow. I have Chartreuse, Apple Green, and Dark Green. I'm going to start with this one over here, and I'm just going to add some Deco Yellow. And I'm going to try to color these leaves. This is the Chartreuse. I'm going to try to color these leaves fairly quickly and just randomly laying the color wherever I feel like it's going to look good. And then I've got my Apple Green, and I'm going to blend some of this in there. I just wanted these leaves to look very different than the other leaves I colored on the page so that they stand out from one another. Okay, so now I have the dark green, and I'm going to lay this color everywhere where I want a little bit more depth. And so I would naturally want some more depth here around the petal of the flower, and then of course where the artist laid the natural lines. And then of course I'm going to have to come back with the other colors just to pull the colors together and go over that highlighted area just to give it a little bit more of a pop. I have my apple green, and I'm going to go in a circular motion and blend some of this color out so we don't see any harsh lines. I'm going to add a little bit more chartreuse, but I'm not going to go where I have the Deco Yellow because I really want the areas where I laid that yellow to really stand out. Now I have the Deco Yellow, and I'm going to add that color right back in there, and I'm just sort of blending these colors all together and smoothing the colors out just a bit. And then I just need to come back and create some depth. And this is my dark green, and this second layer is really making a pretty big difference. Okay, so let's move on to another leaf. I'm going to lay down my Deco Yellow, very lightly. I'm gonna lay some over here in the part of the leaf that is flipped up. Now I have the apple green, and again, just like with the other one, I'm just going to blend some of this color just in some of the areas where I think it would look good, but I want to keep a lot of that highlight right there where the leaf is flipped up. And again, where the petal is touching the leaf, I want to make sure it's quite a bit darker there because I want to make it look as though the petals here are over the top of the leaf. I'm going to turn my book a little bit just to get a better angle, and I'm adding just a little bit more of the apple green over here. Now I have my dark green, and I'm going to do the same thing I did over there on the other leaf, and I'm going to try to add just a little bit of depth. I'm going to go over the lines the artist laid there for us and just emphasize those just a little bit more. Try to cover that line art a bit. And then up in here where the leaf is flipped over, I want to make it a bit darker right here because I would imagine that it would be a little bit darker where the leaf is flipped up because a lot less light would be hitting right up under there. Now I'm gonna put some apple green right over the top of it just to blend it in towards the center here. And I want to just try to bring these colors together just a bit. And then I just need a second layer of the darkest green. And then I'm going to use the chartreuse to blend all the colors together and really add that pop of color. So now that you know how I've done the leaves, I'm just going to go ahead and finish up the rest of them really quickly. And you know what I realized? I realized that I forgot to use the deco yellow in this leaf over here, but it pretty much looks the same as the other one, so I'm not really worried about it. Let me go ahead and use it on this one and just add an extra pop of color. I don't know, the chartreuse might actually even be brighter, but this color does look pretty blended into the other colors. I really like that. Maybe I even like that better than the chartreuse. I don't know. I like them both, I think. I really like that one. I feel like as I go and color in the leaves one by one and just focus a lot more rather than trying to explain what I'm doing, I feel like I'm doing a little bit better on each one as I go through them and just change it up just a little bit. I really like this dark green. We'll use chartreuse on this one. And this one here is going to be a little bit difficult for me to get the right angle so that y'all could see what I'm doing. I want this one a lot lighter. Oh wait, not that color. I want it a lot lighter with the apple green up at the top. And then I think I want to use the deco yellow on this one. I've got my dark green. I really enjoyed doing this. I can't wait to finish the rest of the page. Y'all have to let me know in the comments below what flower on this page, or flowers I should say, you would like to see me color next. I think I may have to come back and color these off camera because it's going to take me a little while and it would be a whole lot to film, but I showed you how to color in this flower here. I think in the next video we're going to go ahead and move on to the next flower. I really love this book with the index in the back that tells you what all of the flowers are and what all of the insects are. It really allows you to color these pages and really be able to bring them to life, making them look very much like what you would actually see in real life. I hope y'all enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Happy coloring. Bye.